The Johnson family's skiing trip was supposed to be an unforgettable winter getaway. But amidst the snowy slopes, 6-year-old Lily vanished without a trace. Desperation and heartache enveloped the family as they searched for her, but their efforts were in vain. 10 years later, an unexpected confession from her sister changed everything. With trembling hands, her sister revealed the truth that shattered the family's fragile peace. "Mom, Dad, I have to tell you something," Carla said with teary eyes as she looked at her parents. They smiled and held her hand, giving encouraging nods to show their support. But their attitude changed as soon as she mentioned her sister. They could sense that she was about to tell them something serious. Carla took a deep breath, and, for a moment, she thought about backing out. Her parents would be furious with her when they found out the truth, but she just needed to come clean. She had kept this secret to herself for all those years, and now she couldn't take it anymore. She needed to tell them. There was no other option. For a few moments, it was quiet. Carla's parents patiently waited for her to gather the courage she needed, not knowing that what she was about to tell them would turn their world upside down. And when she finally did it, they both turned pale with shock. But what did Carla tell her parents? What did she know about Lily's disappearance? And why did she keep it a secret for so long? What was going to happen next? They both stared at her without saying a word, but it was obvious that they were shocked to their core. Her mother, Jean, took a deep, quivering breath as her eyes filled with tears, and she finally asked, "Why did you never say anything?" Carla just shook her head and whispered that she didn't know and she was sorry. "I know I should have told you sooner, but I just couldn't." Jean held Carla's hand, comforting her daughter and showing her that it was all right. However, as Carla looked at her father, she realized that he didn't see it the same way. He avoided her gaze and stared at the wall, but his clenched jaw and furrowed brow made it clear that he was seething with anger. "Dad, I'm so—" Carla started, but her dad, Andrew, abruptly stood up, angrily pushing the chair back into the wall with a force that cut her off mid-sentence. He finally looked at her and he was fuming as he said, "You knew. All of these years, you knew. You could have saved her, Carla. This could have made a difference." And then he burst out the door. Carla burst into tears, and her mother consoled her, telling her that he would calm down soon. "It's going to be okay, darling." But deep down inside, Carla knew that her father was right. If only she had said something sooner, Lily would perhaps still be with them. So she decided she would continue the search for her sister, and she wouldn't rest until she found her. They sat there for a while, waiting for Andrew to return, but there was no sign of him. Carla even called him on the phone a few times, but he didn't pick up. In the end, she just went home to her own apartment and asked her mom to tell him she was terribly sorry. "He'll come around, don't worry," her mom said, as she hugged her at the door, and Carla hoped she was right. As soon as Carla got home, she took an old box from the bottom of her closet. She had hidden it away and hadn't looked at it for a long time, but now she placed it on her desk and carefully laid out all of its contents. This box contained all the news articles and information she had gathered about her sister's disappearance. Her eyes filled with tears as she looked at the photos of Lily. She was only 6 years old at the time. She couldn't help but wonder, what did Lily look like now? What was her life like? She had often heard others say that her sister might not even be alive, but she refused to even consider that as an option. Either way, she was determined to find out what had really happened to her. She still remembered the day of her disappearance like it was yesterday. The two of them weren't really good at skiing yet, so they spent most of their time sleighing down the hills and making snow angels. At one point, a woman had walked up to Lily and complimented her hat, and they started talking. Carla, who was a few years younger, had gotten distracted and wandered off to follow a bird. When she returned, Lily was nowhere to be seen. Carla remembered that she panicked a little, but before she could even get really scared, Jean already came to get her because it was time for her nap. "Where is Lily?" her mother asked. But Carla said she didn't know. They assumed that she had gone to play with some of the other kids, like she had done so often that vacation. But they couldn't have been more wrong. During all those years, Carla had never mentioned that woman to her parents, or anyone else, for that matter. As a little kid, she didn't realize how important that information could have been, and once that was clear to her, she felt too guilty for not speaking up earlier. So she kept it a secret until she felt like she was going to explode if she didn't tell anyone. Somehow, Carla could still see that woman if she closed her eyes. She remembered exactly how she looked, and she was sure that if she ever saw her again, she would definitely recognize her. She wondered, who was that woman? Did she really have something to do with Lily's disappearance? Or was it just a coincidence that she disappeared right after talking to her? With renewed determination, Carla sat down and began sorting through the box. She carefully examined each document, photo, and scrap of paper. She organized everything chronologically, hoping to see a pattern she might have missed before. Spread across her desk, the mystery of Lily's disappearance began to unfold again. Each item she touched brought back memories, both painful and bittersweet. But she pushed through, driven by the desire to uncover the truth. After hours of sorting and reminiscing, Carla decided she needed professional help. This was beyond her capability alone. She resolved to contact a private investigator, someone with the expertise to look at the evidence with fresh eyes. She made a quick list of all the important points to discuss. Tomorrow, she would take the first step towards finally finding her sister and bringing closure to her fractured family. The next morning, Carla woke up early, her heart pounding with a mix of hope and anxiety. She dialed the number of Mr. Reed, a highly recommended private investigator. When he answered, Carla introduced herself and outlined the tragic story of Lily's disappearance, including her recent confession and the woman she remembered. Mr. Reed listened intently and agreed to meet her to discuss the case further. Carla felt a glimmer of hope. That afternoon, Mr. Reed arrived at Carla's house. He was a composed man with a reassuring demeanor. Carla invited him inside and led him to her desk, where everything was laid out. She explained each document and every detail she had painstakingly gathered over the years. Mr. Reed took notes, asking clarifying questions and nodding thoughtfully. His thoroughness gave Carla confidence that she had made the right choice. After going through the documents, Carla detailed her memory of the mysterious woman who had talked to Lily that fateful day. She described the woman's appearance, the way she spoke, and how she had innocently engaged Lily in conversation. Mr. Reed listened carefully, sketching a rough portrait based on Carla's description. "We'll start here," he said confidently. The look in his eyes showed he was ready to take on the challenge. Days felt like weeks as Carla waited for any news from Mr. Reed. She checked her phone constantly, hoping for an update. Each ring made her heart skip a beat. But there were no messages. She distracted herself with work and chores, but her mind always wandered back to Lily. The silence was torturous, yet she trusted Mr. Reed was working diligently on the case. After days of anxious waiting, Carla's phone finally rang. It was Mr. Reed. Excited and hopeful, she answered immediately. He informed her that he had contacted the skiing resort to review their security footage again. Carla felt a surge of hope. She thanked him, knowing how crucial this footage could be. "Let's see if we can find something the police might have missed," he said. Despite countless police reviews, Mr. Reed believed a fresh set of eyes could uncover new clues. He requested access to the security footage from the resort. His thorough approach was reassuring. He knew that even the smallest detail could crack the case wide open. Carla appreciated his determination and eagerness to re-examine what had been previously overlooked. She waited hopefully for any breakthrough. Mr. Reed watched the security footage with unwavering focus. He scrutinized every frame from the days surrounding Lily's disappearance. His eyes darted across the screen, searching for anything out of the ordinary. Hours turned into days, but he remained committed. Each detail was analyzed meticulously. Carla's description of the woman was etched in his mind. He had to find something, anything, that had been missed before. Suddenly, Mr. Reed paused the footage, his heart racing. There, captured on the screen, was the mysterious woman Carla had described. The timestamp matched the period of Lily's disappearance. This was a major breakthrough. He immediately noted the details and planned his next steps. Contacting Carla, he shared the news. "We've got her," he said determinedly. This confirmation was the lead they desperately needed. Mr. Reed dug deeper into the records and managed to obtain a name from the woman's reservation. However, it turned out to be a fake identity. This discovery only fueled his determination. He couldn't believe how meticulously this woman had covered her tracks. The name was counterfeit, but he was confident it was just a matter of time before he unraveled the truth beneath the deception. The realization of the fake identity intensified Mr. Reed's suspicion. He meticulously connected the dots, linking the alias directly to Lily's disappearance. Each new revelation made it clear that this woman had something to hide. His investigation deepened, driven by the urgency to uncover her true identity and motives. Every clue seemed to point towards a carefully orchestrated plan, and he was determined to expose it. Using his connections within the police force, Mr. Reed finally uncovered the woman's real name: Rebecca. Further investigation led to discovering her address. This breakthrough was significant. He knew he had to act quickly before she had any chance to vanish again. Armed with this critical information, he was ready to take the next step in uncovering the full details of her involvement in Lily's disappearance. Mr. Reed wasted no time in informing Carla about Rebecca's real identity and location. He called her immediately, sharing every detail he had gathered. "Her name is Rebecca, and I have her address," he said. Carla listened intently, her heart pounding. She thanked him for the breakthrough. The investigation had now reached a new level of intensity, and both were prepared for the challenges ahead. Determined to confront Rebecca, Mr. Reed meticulously planned his next steps. He reviewed all the information once more, strategizing the best approach to ensure cooperation and truth. He packed necessary materials and double-checked his notes. This was a pivotal moment. He needed to be precise and calculated. His objective was clear: uncover the entire truth about Lily's disappearance and finally bring closure to Carla and her family. When Carla heard about Rebecca, she felt immense relief, but decided to keep the information to herself for now. She didn't want to upset her parents, who were already emotionally drained. She knew this was a significant lead, but she needed to handle it delicately. Her father's anger was still fresh in her mind, and she didn't want to fuel his frustration further. Carla noticed her father's ongoing anger. He was still distant and irritable, avoiding any mention of Lily. She decided it was best to keep him uninformed about the new developments for now. Sharing the information prematurely could cause more harm than good. Instead, she focused on supporting him silently. hoping he would eventually find a way to cope, while she continued her search discreetly. Mr. Reed set out to confront Rebecca, driving several hours from Carla's family home. His mind was laser-focused on the task ahead. The journey was long, but his determination remained unwavering. This was a critical moment in the investigation. He rehearsed his approach, preparing for any possible scenario. His goal was clear: to uncover Rebecca's involvement and bring Lily one step closer to home. Upon arriving at Rebecca's address, Mr. Reed carefully observed the house. It appeared quiet, with no signs of activity. He noted the condition of the property, looking for any clues that might indicate recent movements or inhabitants. The silence was eerie, and he couldn't help but wonder if he was already too late. Nevertheless, he continued his watch, prepared to stay as long as necessary. Mr. Reed decided to conduct a stakeout from his car. He parked a short distance away, maintaining a clear view of the house. With binoculars and a notepad, he settled in for a long wait. Hours passed with no sign of Rebecca or anyone else. The neighborhood remained unusually calm. He remained vigilant, knowing this was a crucial step in gathering information before making his move. Mr. Reed decided to approach Rebecca's house directly. He moved quietly, scanning the surroundings for any sign of life. After a thorough inspection, he confirmed the house was empty. The stillness was almost unsettling, but it provided a chance to investigate further without interruption. He noted the condition of the property, hoping it would offer some clues about Rebecca's whereabouts or habits. Turning to the neighbors for information, Mr. Reed began knocking on doors. He introduced himself and asked if anyone knew or had seen Rebecca recently. Many were cooperative, sharing bits and pieces of what they knew. Some recalled seeing her around, while others noticed she kept to herself. His questions became more specific, seeking any detail that could help track her down. The puzzle pieces started coming together. One neighbor provided a breakthrough. They confirmed that Rebecca indeed lived at the house in question. This validation intensified Mr. Reed's suspicion. He asked about her routines and habits, digging deeper for any vital information. The neighbor described Rebecca's appearance, matching Carla's initial description. This confirmation was crucial, reinforcing the legitimacy of the lead. Mr. Reed felt he was closing in on something significant. Mr. Reed patiently pieced together more details about Rebecca's life from the neighbors. They noted her odd hours, frequent guests, and occasional absences. A clearer picture of her lifestyle began to form. Each new piece of information brought him closer to understanding her role in Lily's disappearance. He meticulously documented everything, preparing for the inevitable confrontation with Rebecca. The investigation was gaining momentum. Mr. Reed called Carla to update her on the progress. "I've confirmed Rebecca's identity and gathered useful information from her neighbors," he explained. Carla listened eagerly. "What's next?" she asked. "I believe we're close to confronting her," Mr. Reed replied. His confidence reassured Carla. The pieces were finally falling into place. Each step brought them closer to finding out the truth about Lily and bringing her home. Mr. Reed finally managed to corner Rebecca. He presented the evidence he had gathered, pressing her for the truth. "I know you were at the resort when Lily disappeared," he stated firmly. Rebecca's eyes darted around, looking for an escape. The pressure was on. Mr. Reed's relentless questioning left her with no choice but to confront the allegations head-on. She realized running was no longer an option. Under Mr. Reed's unwavering scrutiny, Rebecca finally broke down and confessed. She admitted to kidnapping Lily, but claimed it wasn't her idea. "It was a job," she said, her voice trembling. She explained that someone had paid her to take the girl. This revelation added a new layer of complexity to the case. Mr. Reed listened intently, knowing this confession was crucial for uncovering the mastermind. Sensing there was more to uncover, Mr. Reed applied further pressure. "Who hired you?" he demanded. Rebecca hesitated, but the weight of the situation compelled her to speak. "His name is Frank," she finally admitted. The name resonated with Mr. Reed. He knew it was a significant lead that could unravel the entire mystery. He made a note, preparing to dive deeper into Frank's involvement. With Rebecca's confession, Mr. Reed confirmed the connection between Frank and the abduction. He cross-referenced the information with the details previously gathered. Everything pointed towards Frank as the orchestrator behind Lily's disappearance. This revelation brought new clarity to the investigation. It was now evident that Frank, motivated by unknown reasons, had manipulated Rebecca into executing his plan. Mr. Reed was determined to unveil the full story. Mr. Reed immediately updated Carla on the developments. "Rebecca's involved, but she was hired by a man named Frank," he explained. Carla listened, her heart pounding with mixed emotions. "Frank?" she asked, trying to process the information. Mr. Reed detailed Rebecca's confession and Frank's role, propelling the investigation forward. Carla felt a sense of progress, but also knew more challenges lay ahead. This was far from over. Carla was stunned to learn that someone had paid this woman to kidnap her sister. Why? Immediately, she thought of contacting the police. "We need to inform them," she insisted. The seriousness of the situation weighed heavily on her. Frank's involvement indicated a deeper conspiracy that required urgent attention. She could hardly believe that someone they knew could be behind such a heinous act. Mr. Reed advised Carla to hold off on involving the police just yet. "We need to proceed carefully. Media attention could complicate everything," he explained. Carla was hesitant, but saw the logic in his argument. "We don't want to alert Frank," he added. Reluctantly, Carla agreed to delay contacting the authorities, trusting Mr. Reed's judgment. They had to tread cautiously to ensure Lily's safety. Despite her initial reluctance, Carla placed her trust in Mr. Reed's plan. His experience and strategic thinking reassured her. "I'll follow your lead," she agreed. She continued to support his efforts, providing any additional information that might help. The waiting was agonizing, but she knew it was the best course of action. Together, they were determined to find Lily and bring her back safely. Mr. Reed shifted his focus to tracking down Frank. He meticulously gathered information from various sources, piecing together Frank's recent activities. His goal was clear: uncover Frank's role in Lily's abduction and find any leads that could lead them to her. His determination was unwavering. This was the closest they had come to solving the mystery, and he wasn't about to lose momentum now. Carla remained on edge, balancing hope with anxiety. The stakes had never been higher. Every phone call and update from Mr. Reed was a roller coaster of emotions. She clung to the hope that this nightmare would soon be over. But the fear of the unknown lingered. She continued to be a vital part of the investigation, supporting Mr. Reed while bracing herself for whatever lay ahead. Mr. Reed managed to locate Frank and developed a plan to approach him indirectly. Disguising himself as a utility worker, he aimed to gain entry into Frank's home innocuously. The idea was to blend in, making Frank comfortable enough to let his guard down. The cover was perfect for gathering information without raising suspicion. Mr. Reed practiced his approach, ready to execute the plan flawlessly. With his disguise in place, Mr. Reed gained entry into Frank's home under the pretense of inspecting the utility lines. He moved casually, performing a mock inspection while subtly scanning the environment for clues. He noted photographs, documents, and personal items that might be of interest. The setting told a story, and each detail brought him closer to understanding Frank's role in Lily's disappearance. As Mr. Reed performed his tasks, he engaged Frank in small talk. "Nice place you've got here," he commented. Frank seemed pleased, which made him more relaxed. "Got any family?" Mr. Reed probed gently. Frank mentioned his daughter, Stephanie. This caught Mr. Reed's attention. He subtly gathered more details, taking in mental notes of everything Frank said. The pieces were starting to fit together. The mention of Stephanie struck Mr. Reed as significant. He casually asked, "Mind if I see a photo?" Frank obliged, showing him a picture. Mr. Reed's heart raced as he recognized the girl in the photo. It was Lily. The years had changed her, but there was no doubt. This confirmation validated his suspicions. The room felt charged with the weight of this realization. The moment Mr. Reed saw the photo, he knew. Lily had been living as Frank's daughter this whole time. His suspicions were validated, giving him the evidence he needed. He thanked Frank for his time and continued the inspection briefly, making sure not to arouse suspicion. The next steps had to be planned meticulously. He left the house, ready to take immediate action. Mr. Reed departed quickly from Frank's house, using all available resources to trace Lily's current location. He contacted various contacts, cross-referenced addresses, and scrutinized records. The urgency of the situation had intensified. Every minute counted, and he didn't want to lose the momentum. His mind raced with plans and strategies, driven by the goal of reuniting Lily with her family as soon as possible. Hours of diligent investigation paid off when Mr. Reed successfully pinpointed Lily's precise location. The thrill of success was palpable. Multiple confirmations ensured that they had the correct address. The news of her safety brought immense relief. The immediate priority now was to approach her cautiously and ensure she was okay. This breakthrough was a significant step toward bringing Lily back where she belonged. Without wasting a moment, Mr. Reed reached out to Carla. "We've found Lily," he said, his voice steady and reassuring. Carla's breath hitched with a mix of anticipation and disbelief. He outlined their next steps, detailing the plan to reunite them carefully. "We need to handle this delicately," he advised. Carla agreed, overwhelmed by the prospect of finally seeing her sister after so many years. Carla and Mr. Reed sat down to devise a careful plan for approaching Lily. They discussed every detail, prioritizing sensitivity and minimizing the shock for Lily. "We can't just show up unannounced," Mr. Reed cautioned. Carla nodded, understanding the delicacy required. They decided on a gradual approach, hoping to ease Lily into the realization. The importance of this moment weighed heavily on both of them. As the day approached, Carla felt a mix of overwhelming emotions. She prepared herself mentally and emotionally to finally see her sister after a decade of uncertainty and heartache. She rehearsed what she would say, unsure of how Lily would react. Mr. Reed offered support and reassurance, reminding her of their plan. They were ready to face this monumental moment together, no matter the outcome. Carla and Mr. Reed arrived at Lily's house, their hearts pounding with a mix of nerves and excitement. Carla gripped the car door handle tightly, her body trembling. "Are you ready?" Mr. Reed asked gently. Taking a deep breath, Carla nodded and stepped out of the car. They walked to the door together, every step feeling like a lifetime. The moment they had been waiting for was finally here. Carla knocked on the door, her hand shaking. Moments later, it swung open, and there stood Lily. Carla's breath caught in her throat. There was no mistaking her sister, even after all these years. The sight of her long-lost sister overwhelmed Carla, tears welling up in her eyes. She had imagined this moment countless times, but nothing could have prepared her for the reality of seeing Lily again. Tears of joy filled Carla's eyes, but something was wrong. Lily's expression was not one of recognition or joy. It was anger. "What are you doing here?" Lily's harsh question cut through Carla's euphoria. Taken aback, Carla stumbled over her words, not expecting this reaction. The anger in Lily's eyes was evident, leaving Carla speechless and struggling to comprehend the situation. This reunion was not going as planned. "What are you doing here?" Lily's anger resonated in her voice, making Carla momentarily speechless. She clearly recognized her sister, but was filled with resentment. "Lily, it's me, Carla," she managed to say. The emotions of the moment were overwhelming, but it was clear Lily harbored deep bitterness. Introductions were made, but the tension between the sisters was palpable, setting a heavy tone for their initial interaction. Carla and Lily stood on the doorstep, creating an emotional and tense moment. Both sisters were visibly shaken. "Can we talk?" Carla asked gently. Lily hesitated, but stepped aside to let them in. The room was filled with unspoken words and unresolved emotions. This was the first step towards resolution, but it was clear there were many layers of pain and misunderstanding to uncover. They had a long way to go. Inside, Carla and Lily finally sat down, opening a much-needed conversation about the past and the truth. "We've been looking for you for so long," Carla began, her voice shaky. Lily listened, her expression softening slightly. "What happened?" Carla asked. Lily took a deep breath, preparing to share her side of the story. The air was thick with tension, but also with the hope of reconciliation. It was time to talk. Carla listened intently as Lily explained Frank's deceit. He had manipulated her, making her believe she was Stephanie and unloved by her real family. "He told me you didn't care," Lily said, her voice breaking. Carla reached out, wanting to comfort her. The depth of Frank's lies was shocking. The pain in Lily's eyes was evident, but sharing this was the first step towards healing the wound. The backstory emerged. Frank, Jean's ex, had believed Lily was his child. His obsession led to her abduction. "He thought he was saving me," Lily continued, tears streaming down her face. Carla listened, heartbroken by the reality of what Frank had done. The years of brainwashing and manipulation had taken their toll. Understanding the full extent of Frank's actions was crucial for moving forward and helping Lily reclaim her true identity. Frank's manipulation came to light, revealing the extent of his lies and the impact of his actions on Lily. "He made me think you abandoned me," Lily confessed. The revelation was devastating. Carla fought back tears, feeling the weight of Lily's pain. "We never stopped looking for you," she reassured her sister. The truth was harsh, but it marked the beginning of their journey toward healing and rebuilding trust. The devastating truth left Carla and Lily reeling, but it also marked the beginning of their journey toward healing. "We'll get through this together," Carla promised. They embraced, finding comfort in each other's presence. The path ahead would be challenging, but they were ready to face it as a family. Each shared story and revelation brought them closer. The bond that had been strained for so long was starting to mend. Carla brought Lily home, and their parents' joy was palpable as they welcomed their daughter back after 10 long years. Tears filled their eyes as they hugged her tightly. The reunion was emotional and overwhelming. "We missed you so much," their mother sobbed. Lily felt the warmth and love she had been missing. The family was finally complete, and they were determined to make up for lost time. The Johnson family, finally reunited, embraced each other, feeling whole once more and cherishing their renewed bonds. The sense of relief and joy was immense. They spent hours talking, catching up on lost years. Every moment was precious. The trauma of the past could not overshadow the happiness of the present. Together, they vowed to support one another and cherish the gift of being together again. Authorities quickly acted, arresting Frank and Rebecca, ensuring justice was served for their criminal actions. The legal system moved swiftly, bringing closure to the family. Carla felt a sense of vindication knowing that those responsible for Lily's suffering would face the consequences. It was a critical step for Lily's healing process. The assurance that they could now move forward without the shadows of Frank and Rebecca looming over them was liberating. Carla felt relieved and content, knowing her persistence and courage had finally brought her sister home. She had faced fear, guilt, and uncertainty, but it was all worth it to see her family whole again. The journey had been long and arduous, but the outcome reaffirmed her belief in never giving up. Together, they could now create new, happier memories, leaving the darkness of the past behind. The Johnson family looked forward to rebuilding their lives together, appreciating every moment after being apart for so long. The road ahead would have its challenges, but they were ready to face them together. Each day was a gift, filled with love and the promise of a brighter future. The strength of their bond, forged through adversity, would carry them through whatever lay ahead. They were finally home. Do you like this touching and surprising story? If so, we invite you to leave us a comment expressing your opinion. If you want to continue enjoying inspiring stories like this one, subscribe to our channel or check out the other videos shown at the bottom of the screen. Thank you for your cooperation.